Why your intuition was programmed out and how to reactivate it in 7 days exposed how corporate America weaponized logic to destroy your inner GPS. There are only two kinds of people in this world: those who hand over their life decisions to external authorities, and those who've discovered the raw power of trusting their internal navigation system. If you click this video, you probably suspect you belong in the second category, but something has been blocking that connection. Stanford Graduate School of Business tracked Fortune 500 CEOs for 15 years and found something that would shock most business schools. 83% of their most profitable decisions came from gut instincts, not spreadsheet analysis. Yet from kindergarten through corporate training, the system teaches you the exact opposite. Never trust your intuition. The personal development industry generates over $13 billion annually by selling you the lie that you need external formulas, productivity hacks, and 7-step systems to find your path. They've turned your intuition into public enemy number one, labeling it as dangerous, irrational, or unreliable. This is the first layer of mind control, convincing you that your own internal guidance system is fundamentally broken. When you distrust your intuition, you automatically transfer decision-making power to outside authorities. Gurus, influencers, coaches, and experts become your new digital gods. You live a borrowed life, following maps drawn by strangers, heading toward destinations that were never meant for you. The psychological damage from this disconnection is devastating. Chronic anxiety, because you never know which direction to take, depression from living a life that makes no sense to your soul, and an existential emptiness that no online course can fill. You become an emotional zombie, operating on autopilot according to other people's expectations. Subversive evolution begins when you recognize this pattern of internal sabotage. Your intuition isn't some mystical luxury or special gift reserved for spiritual people. It's your most advanced biological technology, a quantum processor that analyzes millions of variables in microseconds and delivers the answer most aligned with who you actually are. The system doesn't want you trusting this internal technology because people who trust themselves are impossible to control. They don't buy solutions to problems they don't have, don't follow trends that make no sense, and won't sacrifice their authenticity for social approval. Your mission starting right now is simple but revolutionary. Begin the Inner Whisper protocol. For the next 72 hours, whenever your rational mind starts listing pros and cons about a decision, stop and ask, what is my body trying to tell me about this? Write down those sensations without judging them. Notice how your stomach tightens around certain people or opportunities. Pay attention to how your energy expands or contracts in different environments. Your body is constantly receiving and processing data that your conscious mind misses completely. The goal isn't to abandon logic entirely, but to integrate it with your intuitive intelligence. Think of logic as your computer processor and intuition as your internet connection. The processor is powerful, but without the internet, it can only work with old, limited data. Most people are walking around with their internal internet disconnected, making decisions based on outdated programming instead of real-time intelligence. They wonder why their lives feel so disconnected from who they really are. If you're ready to deprogram the distrust in yourself and reconnect with your most powerful internal GPS, type "I trust" in the comments. Turn this video into a virus of self-awareness by liking and sharing it with someone who needs to hear this truth. Why choice overload is the perfect prison for your mind. You make approximately 35,000 decisions every single day. Researchers at Cornell University discovered this staggering number. But here's the kicker: 99% of those decisions are completely automatic. Yet the system has convinced you that you're free because you can choose between Coke and Pepsi. The mind control industry created the perfect illusion. They offer you thousands of meaningless options to make you feel in charge, while the decisions that actually matter have already been made for you. You can choose between 50 types of breakfast cereal, but they all contain the same addictive chemicals. You can select from hundreds of Netflix shows, but they all keep you glued to screens, consuming passively instead of creating actively. This addiction to false choices works like a digital drug that releases dopamine. Every time you believe you're deciding something, your brain gets the chemical reward of control, while you're simply navigating inside a maze that others built. It's the most sophisticated prison ever invented, one where the prisoner believes they're free. The cost of this illusion on your mental health is astronomical. Analysis paralysis keeps you eternally stuck between options that are fundamentally identical. Mental exhaustion comes from burning infinite psychological energy on micro decisions that don't matter while ignoring macro decisions that would define your actual life. You develop anxiety because you're always choosing, but never feel satisfied with the results. You develop depression because despite having so many options, your life feels empty and purposeless. The system keeps you busy selecting between variations of the same theme, while your true essence suffocates. Subversive evolution happens when you realize that real freedom isn't having infinite options, but having clarity about what you actually want. It's the difference between being a rat in a complex maze and being an eagle that flies directly to its destination. Your intuition is the antidote to this false choice addiction. It cuts through mental confusion and goes straight to the essential. Does this energize me or drain me? Does this move me closer to or further from who I really am? Does this feed my soul or just my ego? The decision detox is your first step toward real freedom. For 1 week, eliminate one category of unnecessary choices from your life. It could be wearing the same work outfit, eating the same breakfast, or taking the same route to frequent destinations. Watch how your mind liberates itself to focus on what actually matters. When you stop wasting psychological energy on irrelevant choices, you have mental fuel left over for decisions that can transform your life. Who to spend your time with, how to express your unique talents, what impact to leave on the world. Most Americans are drowning in trivial decisions while starving for meaningful ones. They'll spend 30 minutes choosing what to watch on Netflix, but won't spend 30 minutes deciding what they want their life to look like in 5 years. The paradox is brutal. The more choices you think you have, the less free you actually become. True freedom comes from having the courage to eliminate everything that doesn't align with your core values and desires. If you recognize that your freedom has been hijacked by false options, and you're ready to reclaim your real decision-making power, type freedom in the comments. Make this video a declaration of mental independence by liking and sending it to someone who also needs to escape this matrix of illusions. How to use the reality check protocol to expose your programmed responses. The most disturbing truth about your life is this: 80% of your personal decisions aren't actually yours. They're conditioned reflexes, programmed responses you inherited from family, absorbed from society, or copied from digital influencers without even realizing it. A groundbreaking study from Duke University revealed that 45% of our daily actions are automatic habits, not conscious decisions. But the reality is even more shocking. Even when we believe we're deciding consciously, we're often just executing mental scripts that were installed in us by others. Did you choose your career based on your unique talents and genuine passions? Or did you follow what your parents considered safe and respectable? Did you choose your partner because your soul recognized a deep connection, or because they fit the romantic checklist that Hollywood programmed into you? Did you choose your lifestyle because it brings you peace and authenticity, or because it looks impressive on social media? Most Americans live borrowed lives, playing characters they never consciously chose to become. They're CEOs who hate corporate culture, parents who sacrifice dreams for social expectations, or artists who became accountants for financial realism, all trapped in identities that are more social mask than authentic expression. The system maintains this psychological prison through fear of judgment. Every time your intuition whispers a different direction, your programmed mind screams, "What if people think you're crazy? What if you can't succeed? What if you disappoint people who love you?" These fears aren't yours. They're mental viruses installed to keep you controllable. Subversive evolution requires developing immunity against these conformity viruses. The reality check protocol is your psychological vaccine. Before any important decision, ask yourself, if I knew nobody would judge me and failure was impossible, what would I do? The answer that emerges is your authentic voice speaking. But warning, This voice might be rusty from years of disuse. Initially, it may sound weak, uncertain, or contradictory. That's completely normal. You're awakening authenticity muscles that have been atrophied. Be patient with this reconnection process. The practical protocol is revolutionary in its simplicity. For 30 days, make one small daily choice based purely on what you want, not what you think you should want. It could be something simple like choosing music that actually moves you instead of what's trending, or wearing clothes that make you feel more like yourself, even if they're not appropriate for the occasion. Each micro act of authenticity strengthens your capacity for macro-authentic choices. You're literally reprogramming your internal operating system, replacing conformity codes with authenticity algorithms. Pay attention to the resistance you feel when making authentic choices. That resistance isn't your intuition warning you of danger. It's your programming fighting to maintain control. The stronger the resistance, the more important the authentic choice becomes. Start documenting patterns in your programmed responses. Notice when you automatically say yes when you mean no, when you smile when you feel angry, when you agree when you actually disagree. These patterns reveal where others have installed their software in your mental hardware. If you're ready to discover which of your choices are actually yours and which were installed by others, type "I choose" in the comments. Transform this discovery into a movement by liking and sharing with people who also need to question whether they're living their own lives or playing assigned characters. Why your real power lives in controlling only what you can control. The obsession with control is the most widespread mental illness of the digital age. We want to control how others perceive us, how the stock market behaves, what the weather will be like, how our relationships will evolve. We spend 90% of our energy trying to manipulate variables that are completely outside our reach. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania conducted a revealing experiment. People who focused only on what they could directly control showed 67% fewer anxiety symptoms and 54% more life satisfaction compared to those obsessed with external outcomes. The control paradox is brutal. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the less control you have over your actual life. The system profits from your obsession with external control because it keeps you perpetually dissatisfied, always buying the next solution, the next course, the next gadget that promises to give you more power over the world. Meanwhile, you ignore the only territory where you have absolute power: your responses, your choices, your values, your actions. Subversive evolution happens when you redirect all that wasted energy from external control to internal mastery. Instead of trying to control whether people will like your work, you control the quality and authenticity of what you produce. Instead of trying to control whether someone will love you, you control how much you love yourself and how much genuine love you offer. Your real power isn't in molding the world to your image, but in becoming so solid internally that no external turbulence can destabilize you. It's the difference between being a branch that breaks in any strong wind and being a tree with deep roots that dances with storms without falling. The anxiety you feel doesn't come from the problems you have, but from the energy you waste trying to control problems that aren't yours to solve. Depression doesn't come from lack of external achievements, but from disconnection with your genuine internal power. When you stop fighting currents you can't change, you have infinite energy left to navigate masterfully in waters you can command. Americans especially struggle with this because we're raised on the mythology of unlimited control. We believe if we work hard enough, plan extensively enough, and optimize perfectly enough, we can control outcomes. This creates a generation of control addicts who burn out trying to micromanage reality. The real power protocol is simple but transformative. Make 2 lists. First, write everything that worries you but is outside your direct control. Second, write your possible responses to each situation from the first list. Every time you catch yourself obsessing over something from the first list, immediately redirect your attention to the second. This mental reprogramming liberates an absurd amount of energy that was being wasted on useless worry. You discover you have much more power than you imagined, but it was always directed at wrong targets. It's like discovering you're an expert archer who was aiming at non-existent targets while ignoring the real target right in front of you. When you take total control over your responses, choices, and actions, something magical happens. The external world begins aligning naturally with your internal energy. Not because you're controlling others, but because you've become a magnet for experiences that resonate with who you really are. If you're ready to stop wasting energy trying to control the uncontrollable and focus on your real internal power, type "My Power" in the comments. Make this discovery a personal revolution by liking and sharing with people who also need to redirect their energy where it can actually generate transformation. The journey of reconnecting with your intuition and internal power never ends, but every step makes you freer, more authentic, more alive. Continue this subversive evolution by subscribing to the channel and hitting notifications so you don't miss any mental deprogramming tools.